All right, today we are looking at one of the best ways to breathe new life into your banjo playing. This simple technique, it's easy to do. It'll make your songs sound more modern, more unique, and it's a lot of fun to play. It's called the M-skip. I've taught this before, but after teaching hundreds of students how to use the M-skip effectively, I feel like I've discovered some new variations on it, some new improvements that will really help you make the most of it. So let's get into it. All right, so like I said, this is a simple technique. It's a very slight variation on that basic bum-ditty rhythm, right? So if you got that, you are good to go. If you don't, or you just need a little refresher, check the description. I've got my free quick start guide to the banjo. This is a 90-minute video course that will take you through all those basics. So all you're gonna do when you have that basic bum-ditty rhythm going is just occasionally, when you wanna do the M-skip, you're just gonna skip the brush strokes. So bum-ditty, 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 bum-ditty. See, it's exactly the same. I'm sure you've done this a million times by accident. All we're doing, when we come in to do that brush stroke, we're still making that same brush stroke motion. Our thumb still sinks into that fifth string, but we're just moving our fingers past the strings without actually hitting them. This creates a lot more space. It sort of shifts the emphasis onto the thumb pluck, which is really cool. And it's just a great sounding technique. In fact, that is the practice exercise I would like you to try for this as you're getting used to it. So you can try it a few times on its own. So just 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4, and that's the very basic sort of level 1 M-skip exercise, right? As you get comfortable with that, as that motion is sounding good and your thumb sinking into that fifth string every time, the thumb pluck's nice and loud, you're just gonna work on switching back and forth between your regular bum-ditty and your M-skip. And just be able to, substitute an M-skip for your regular bum-ditty at any time, and where all you're doing is skipping the brush stroke. Pretty simple. It just might take a little practice for you to get really comfortable with it. But one of the great things about this now is that when you can switch those, use those interchangeably, you can add great variety to songs, right? So I know one of the things I've struggled with in the past is feeling like, man, I only kind of know one version of, whatever song, Cripple Creek. And if we play it a bunch of times, I'm just going to play that same version over and over again. It's only like a 20-second song through the A and the B part, and it just starts to sound repetitive, right? Well, M-skips are a great way to add a little variety. So maybe you play it really straight the first time through, then the next time you throw in some M-skips. Super simple way to change up the song a little bit. That sounds really good. It's exciting for the listener, and it's hardly any different from the original, from your perspective, from the player's perspective, right? Let's see how that might work. So I was playing Wild Bill Jones earlier, which is why I'm in like a slightly weird tuning here. But let's see how that would work with Wild Bill Jones. So I'll play just a straight ahead version of it, and then I'll throw in some M-skips. So here's how it would sound sort of normally. Cool. Nothing wrong with that. Sounds fantastic. However, we can, maybe next time I play through it, I make it a little more exciting. So if I throw a bunch of M-skips in there, maybe some of the variations we'll talk about today, I might end up with something like this. I think that sounds really nice. And when you play those two sort of back to back, it sounds awesome. It sounds like you're almost playing a completely different arrangement, even though we're really keeping it very, very similar. So once you're comfortable with that basic M-skip, you can throw that in once in a while and sound pretty good. You're not, messing up your rhythm or anything. You can start to think about some of the slightly more advanced variations on it. But again, none of these are too complex. The first thing that can sound really nice is to start to chain them together. So you don't just have to throw them in occasionally. You can do a bunch in a row. So it'd be more like, so from 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1. key here is keep that pendulum motion going. That's so important. It's easy to lose your rhythm here when we lose that sort of home base of the brushstroke. So make sure that pendulum motion is really strong and you won't lose your rhythm. So I'll show you a quick example of what that can sound like when you string a bunch of these together. So we can go from something like this to this. You see how you just kind of get that nice ringing sound? We really let those melody notes ring out nice and clear. They have good sustain, a little bit more sustain. They carry through where you might hear the brushstroke, which I think sounds really nice there, right? And so, especially sometimes on slightly more laid back or slower songs, that can just sound so nice. So give that a try once you're comfortable with the basic M skip. Work on maybe chaining a few of those together. And really easy, like if you're just looking at one of my tabs or something, feel free to just sort of X out over some of the brush strokes and give that a try, right? Just remember to keep that motion the same. You're all good. And then the other variation I love for the M skip is to retain the brush stroke. So as we're playing, say, a bunch of chained brush strokes together, sometimes we miss that nice lush brush stroke, right? Well, one thing that we can do, especially on chord changes, this sounds really great, is to move that brush stroke to the 1. So instead of 1, 2, and 3, 4, and we can do 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4, and, right? So we are starting out our bum ditty with a brush stroke, which you do see occasionally, but then we're following it up with an M skip. So, you know, if we were to play this without the M skip, it would sort of be brush stroke, thumb. So, but we skip that, you know, dit of the bum ditty or the 2, and it would be 1, 2, and 3, 4, and this sounds especially nice on chord changes. So when you're going from one chord to another, try that brushstroke on 1. It sounds really cool. So see how that might look with Wild Bill Jones. So remember, I'm kind of chaining all these M skips together, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And then I move to that F chord and I just have that brushstroke on the 1, and then I'm still doing the M skip, right? I really like to, you know, if I'm playing solo, I really like to milk that brushstroke, slow the tempo down just slightly, and really kind of fan that out. That's called tempo rubato, I've learned fairly recently, and this might date me, but I can't hear the phrase tempo rubato without wanting to go domo arigato tempo rubato domo domo. Yeah, if you're old too, maybe you'll get that. Anyway, like I'm saying, just sometimes you can move the brush stroke that you're skipping. You can move that to the 1 and then just continue with your M skip, and that's going to sound really good. So what I would really encourage you to do is take a song you know well, a song you love. It's especially helpful if you can look at the tab and maybe make notations, but just sort of cross out some of those brush strokes and see how you can change the feel of the song, and just get used to sort of dropping them out once in a while as you see fit, as it makes sense to you. This can really change the emotion of a song and just really sound great. If you want to see other techniques for changing the emotion of a song, check out this next video. I've got 5 great techniques for you.